So the Scott's Thoughts topic this week is, how do we not become a slave to technology, to our smartphones, to our devices? How do we block out that noise? So take it away.
When you brought up the cell phone thing, like all of these topics, they could go so many different directions. And what I kept coming back to was the effect on kids, and maybe tie that in a little bit to high school sports, because really that's what we're talking about here. But I can't help but think about cell phones and kids, and really it's, I don't know, it's just a spot with me that I'm passionate about. And here's what I'll say about cell phones and knowing that that's the direction that I want to go. I feel so lucky to have grown up in the era that I did. A time when I knew what it was like to be disconnected, to be left to my own thoughts, to not be constantly entertained and stimulated. I remember what it was like to have real relationships with real people. And the only screen time I got was Saturday mornings when cartoons came on from 6 until 10 a.m. Once a week, that was it. Life was simple. Well, flash forward, and how things have changed. When you ask coaches, teachers, administrators, and even parents what one of the biggest distractions and contributors to the decline of our kids, well, the answer is easy. It's a cell phone. And it's not only destroying our children, it's hurting high school sports. Studies have shown that 95% of teens have a phone and now have the world at their fingertips, unfiltered and unsupervised. And these same studies show that spending too much time on your phone and social media, which go hand in hand, well, they lead to anxiety, sleep deprivation, depression, decreases our attention span, and the list goes on and on. So why do we keep letting this happen? Why do we put these devices in the hands of our children without teaching them the proper usage, and that phones don't replace people? And why do our kids act like drug addicts when we try to take them away? Look, I'm not saying that cell phones and social media are the devil, but they certainly can be if we don't teach our kids that our phones are not our identity, and that the internet, it is forever. And whatever stupid picture you send will exist for always somewhere. How many times have we seen one of our athletes do something dumb with their phones only to end up in trouble with the school and their team? And when you look at the landscape of high school sports over the years, there's a pattern. Kids are not participating. Of course, there are several possible factors, but you can't tell me that our phones don't have something to do with this. These kids are born into a tech-savvy world and raised in the glow of a digital device. They know no different. We've let our phones and social media turn us into an emotional and reactional society instead of a logical one, where we choose posting over discussing, texting over talking, and reacting over thinking. And this culture affects high school sports. As our athletes, they become soft and unable to work through problems without posting about them. And this behavior finds its way onto the team. Our phones and social media have allowed us to create conversations behind teammates' backs, behind coaches' backs, hiding behind screens rather than confronting an issue head on. It's cowardly, and yet it's a snapshot of the cell phone world. And this type of behavior, it doesn't allow our kids to know or experience the emotional damage they cause when they simply hit send. Before phones, we had board games, bikes, we climbed trees, we were active. And now the activity is on the phone. And it's no wonder why kids opt out of PE and any type of physical activity, which includes sports. Now, I know that these talks end up focusing on the big three: coaches, parents, and athletes. And you know what? This one, it's no different. Coaches, you can take some of this control because you are one of the biggest influences these kids will ever have. Have them turn in their phones on bus rides to games. No phones in the locker room. Perhaps that time can be spent getting in the right mindset to head into battle, where you step off the bus focused on the game and not what someone just said in your last Snapchat. Help teach our athletes how to live, how to feel the highs and lows of competition, and to not always choose the phone. Choose life. Choose your teammates. Choose the memories you make with them, because high school, it flies by so quickly. And athletes, high school sports are struggling. And they're struggling because there are so many distractions, and we choose them over people, over the feeling of crossing a finish line, the feeling of scoring a basket, the feeling of hearing the crowd cheering on Friday night. And now we've chosen to feel based on how many likes or views we get. And with all of those distractions, it's no wonder we're messed up. And to some athletes who are immersed in this culture, the team becomes the distraction. You know, we used to apply ourselves. Now there's an app for that. And parents, you are the key to it all. You are the ones to teach them about life and family, and not throw a tablet in front of a toddler or shut them up for a while. You are the ones to monitor the use of your kids' phone and be present in their lives, guiding them through difficult times with human interaction. And hold them accountable for their behaviors, and put your foot down when they don't behave, and be a parent and take the phone away. And while you're at it, get off your own phone. Now, I know I have a harsh view of cell phones, but as a coach, administrator, and a parent, I've seen it from all sides. And most of it, it's not good. You know, we've forgotten how to go outside, how to be physical, how to work, how to solve problems, how to experience life, how to build a bike ramp or a fort. You know, we don't drive down the street and see pickup basketball games or kids throwing the football around anymore. We have forgotten how to play. Today, we play, but we don't move. You know, we used to get a knock on the door with a friend asking if we could come outside and play, and now we get a ding on our phone. And high school sports, they're suffering in this instant gratification and constant stimulation world we live in. You know, we have failed to foster relationships with teammates, with coaches, with our own family, because we live in this 3-foot bubble. We have become reclusive, and we don't socialize. We don't participate, and we don't play. And when we do play, we're distracted and not engaged. You know, I'm not trying to be negative, but it's frustrating, because life is a beautiful thing. So much to see, so much to do, to experience, and we're missing it. You know, there's something to be said about keeping life simple, taking time to enjoy the silence, to enjoy eliminating the noise and the clutter, because time waits for no one. And if we don't pause and look up, our time is gone, and we cannot get it back. In closing, I find it funny, because we are the most connected society in the history of the world, yet we are the most disconnected from each other. And those are Scott's thoughts.